Hello, my name is Jade and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, I know this video is super late and I apologize. I didn't end up posting the week before this one because I just didn't have the chance to write the script for the video because I ended up not saving the original script I wrote for it. So I ended up doing a live stream. And then the day I did that live stream, my dog passed away later that night, so I've kind of been all over the place. I apologize, but I'm still trying my best to kind of go through everything. Thank you guys for being understanding during this time. I really appreciate it. Thanks for not, forgetting about me. Also, just want to point one thing out. I hope you enjoy this new addition to my supernatural shrine. My best friend Jessie, who if you don't know, she was in my Pride vlog. She gave that to me and I love her. It's literally a baby blanket with me and Jared Padalecki on it. I couldn't ask for anything more. Anyways, I was able to watch the new episode of Supernatural, so I think it's time to talk about it. So, the episode starts off with Dean going to Sam and Eileen after he finds an article about a girl being raptured, and he's like, hey, I'm dipping. So, Dean goes off to do this hunt, and he meets up with an old friend, Lee Webb. People were saying Lee and Leo. For this case, I'm just gonna say Lee because it sounded like Lee in the episode. He happens to own the bar that this girl who was raptured disappeared at. Of course, on arrival, Dean has to hand in his phone, so he doesn't end up noticing that Cass is calling him. Jumping back to Sam, Cass ends up barging in with Sam and Eileen, and he tells them that when Sam got shot, he shot God with a piece of his soul, which means if Cass is able to probe his gunshot wound, they might get closer to finding God. Of course, this doesn't come without a risk. Sam continues on with the plan anyway because he cares more about finding God. While Cass is doing his probing, Sam ends up getting shot at the wall and knocked out for the 5th time this season. Cut back to Dean. The best friend of the missing girl ends up coming into the bar right after his little rock star moment with Lee, and he goes to check the nearby junkyard as prompted by the other chick working with Lee in the bar. Dean ends up finding the girl's body. I can't talk. Dean ends up finding the girl's car in the junkyard and finding her body in the trunk of her car. And that's when Lee knocks Dean out and takes him to his basement. Cass ends up calling in the scary Russian dude, Sergey, to help him fix Sam. Apparently, Sam's dying because his soul was stretched like a rubber band, as Sergey explained. He ends up screwing Sam up more to try and negotiate with Cass, but then Cass is like, nah, fuck you, and then he fixes him because Cass is terrifying when he's pissed off. Dean ends up being chained up by Lee in his house with a monster that feeds on his blood. Turns out Lee was the one behind everything. He leaves Dean to be drained out, but that doesn't work because it's Dean fucking Winchester. He gets out, murders the monster, and then murders Lee in all of his badassery. Dean ends up going back to the bunker after all of that, and we're left with him, Sam, Eileen, and Cass in the bunker, and we finish off with the final point being that God is weak, and if God is weak, they can beat him. The promo for the next episode gives us a little insight into what to expect next. I said a little while ago that I thought Michael would be helping out the Winchesters. I'm a little tossed up between if we're just seeing Adam or both Michael and Adam. My assumption would be that if Adam is hosting Michael, Michael may be somewhat dormant inside of him, similar to how Dean contained the alternative world's Michael, but instead Michael is hiding by choice, not being locked up. I wouldn't necessarily say hiding by choice. I can't really say anything now because I haven't seen the episode yet, obviously, but my reasons for believing this, though, would be that the way that Lucifer speaks about Michael in the episode The Devil in Details, which is season 11, episode 10, I'll play the clip.
Michael? Well, let's just say prison life hasn't really agreed with Michael. These days, he's usually sitting in a corner singing show tunes and touching himself.
Lucifer kind of describes Michael as broken and weak and stuff like that, especially after his time in the cage. So I wouldn't be surprised if Michael isn't as strong as we saw him last time in season 5. I'm assuming that somehow, someway, Sam, Dean, and Cass come up with the idea of going to hell, going to the cage, and getting Michael/Adam out of the cage. The cage is already open, so this task probably won't be too difficult to achieve. From the looks of it, God is going to be acting up in the next episode, whether that is killing people, starting another apocalypse, or fucking with the Winchesters indirectly, Sam may be able to have some insights as to what God is doing because of his wound. God is weak, as they mentioned. I mean, he's still God, but he's weaker than normal, which means Sam and Dean might at least have a little bit of a shot. But because it is just the mid-season finale, I highly doubt that their fight with God will be over by the end of this episode. Like I've been saying for a little while, I think the mid-season finale will start with Sam, Dean, and Cass looking for God and looking for ways to hurt him. Someone's gonna come up with the idea of getting Michael and Adam out of the cage, and when they do that, they'll explain to him the whole situation with God. If it's Michael who's in control, which I'm starting to doubt a little bit, but I'm thinking he might be a little reluctant to help the Winchesters. But at the end of the day, God was the one who made the apocalypse happen in the first place, so you never know. If it's Adam, I'm expecting him to be very pissed off at Sam and Dean, considering Dean had the option of saving either him or Sam's soul from the cage, and he chose Sam's back in season 6. I do think he will end up helping them because I would like to hope that Sam and Dean can explain the whole God situation to him to get him on board. They don't really need anyone else working against them, and if they have an archangel on their side, it's just a little bit better than having an archangel against them as well as God. I had a little bit of a theory though. So something that is pretty clear at this point is that God's ending for Sam and Dean is exclusively with Sam and Dean. Sam and Dean are only human, therefore are more susceptible to things that Chuck can change around them. Cass, on the other hand, is an angel, and even though the show likes to constantly depower him, he's still one hell of a fighter and has been known for rebelling for the people he loves, aka the Winchesters. The mid-season finale is next week, and nothing too awful has happened to the three of them just yet. I think that this changes next week, though. It's obvious that Cass is not a part of God's story for Sam and Dean. He poses a threat to the execution of his perfect ending that Chuck so desperately wants. So what does God do next episode to get rid of that problem? I think God is going to kill Castiel. He can't kill Sam and Dean, because then he doesn't get his ending. But if he kills Cass, we 1, get to see God start screwing with Sam and Dean even more, and 2, we get to see Cass reunite with Jack in the Empty. Now, I'm certainly not rooting for Cass to die, but this has been something that's been dawning on me for a little bit. I don't think Castiel's deal with the Empty is going to be the cause of him going to the Empty. The deal was, once he's happy, the Shadow will take him. Well, we've seen Cass get his heart stomped on like 5 times this season already. First with all the ending of season 14 stuff with God's fucking Thanos snap, then with Jack dying, then with him having to kill Belphegor, and then with his little domestic dispute with Dean. These are all things that make a not happy Cass. For him to be happy, his fight needs to be over and he needs to be with those he cares about the most, aka the Winchesters. So I don't think that will be possible to achieve before he gets killed. TLDR, God is going to kill Castiel because by Castiel being around, he interferes with his true ending for the Winchesters. Hence why we didn't see him in that little shot at the end of this episode with the little pop figures. We see the feather in the background, which may represent Cass, but I'm not sure. But I just thought that would be something to mention. I also want to talk about Eileen a little bit. Now, I'm really happy that we have Eileen back. Seeing her with Sam makes my heart melt. But I don't trust her. Well, let me correct myself. Not that I don't trust her, but I don't trust the reasons why she is back. I have a bad feeling for Eileen, and the only reason why I do have that feeling is because I think that she's kind of a pawn for Sam. I think God let Eileen come back for that reason. It wasn't death that let that happen, it was God. It makes sense because I feel like for Sam to have to really get into that true ending that Chuck wants, he would have to kind of snap, and I think losing Eileen could make him snap like that. Do I think it would be a snap so bad that Sam goes back to drinking demon blood and kills Dean? No. But it could lead to a different scenario. Those are just theories though. I'm not 100% sure. Don't egg me. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. Now, if I remember correctly though, there's just one thing that bugs me. I thought Dean was bad at singing. Now, whether or not Dean breaking out into song with Lee is canonically correct, it was something that made me feel a little less like crying this episode. Considering we haven't seen the boys out and about that much this season, this week was a little bit of a nice, fresh breath of air. Except for the fact that it wasn't a Sam-centric episode, but you know I'll always complain about that regardless. There's not enough Sam. There will never be enough Sam. My heart will never stop feeding on Sam Winchester. Sorry. I'm excited for the mid-season finale, but I'm also not ready to go weeks without Supernatural. Next week, we get to see Adam Milligan, Michael, and God, so get ready for the end, folks. We're all doomed. So thank you guys for watching this video, and again, thank you for being patient with me with my uploading while I am grieving my dog. You know, I lost 2 pets that were very important to me in the span of 7 months, and I kind of feel like shit constantly now, but I know I'll eventually get through it. Anyways, if you want to follow me on Instagram, what a great lead-in after that. God, I'm the worst. If you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, my handles will be up here at PierceTheOvaries and at SPNJade. I also have a Discord server where we talk about Supernatural and other things alike, so if you want to join, the links will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Don't get possessed by any demons.